In 1967, I graduated as at that stage, young geologist. And geologists were very popular at that stage because there was a boom in the industry. The situation I found myself in is I had about half a dozen job offers, so I put myself out to tender. And in that tendering process, I ended up with about 3 serious offers. So what I was smart enough to do, I thought, was establish the criteria that I needed for my employer to bless. And there were two principal criteria. I wanted to maximise my income, as all young men should want to do. And I wanted, because I'd never left Australia, I wanted to be posted overseas within 6 months of my joining my new employer. So I accepted a job which was, on an annualised basis, $500 more per annum than the underbidder, $10 a week. And 6 months later, I was sitting in the middle of the Sahara Desert. Sitting in the middle of the Sahara Desert was a experience not many of us will have. It was a fantastic experience while it was happening. In hindsight, it taught me a lot of things. I was the kid on the job. It was a production oil field. It was 24 hours a day. Because I was the boy, I was there from 6 p.m. till 6 a.m. And everything was going along well till one morning I was still there at 10 a.m. and I really didn't appreciate this very much. I distinctly remember it was 121 degrees in the shade, and several other things were frustrating me. So I went to get my partner, who I discovered at 10 o'clock in the morning was still too immobile because of what he'd done to himself the night before. And he wasn't available till 2 o'clock. So at 2 o'clock he arrived. So that was the first little bit of frustration in that particular job, apart from the location I'd ended up in. 2 weeks later, Gaddafi pulled a coup on King Idris, and an Australian had burnt a mosque down in Jerusalem about 3 months before I arrived in Libya. So immediately the coup was successful. We Australians were all effectively deported. The learning experience of this to me, which is a bit unique, but we're all going to end up in unique situations in our careers, was I needed an escape mechanism, whether I was sacked or made redundant, or whether they threw me out of the country. When I rang my boss in Tripoli to say I'd been told I was going to be deported, he said, "Oh, that's a real shame, Peter, because all the planes between Tripoli and the oil field have been cancelled, so we don't know how to get you out." So that was a very interesting scenario. So eventually, I'm here today, so they got me out, which was a very good thing. So the exit mechanism in this particular situation, from my longevity point of view, was very much focused on leaving the country safely. However, when you think more broadly about exit mechanisms, you probably will find yourself in a situation at some stage of your career where you either want to leave or your boss wants you to leave. And you better make sure the rules of the game are well understood as opposed to confused.